Hello again, and welcome to Kabbalah Revealed. I'm Tony Kozenek. In our last lesson, we learned about the screen, Masach, the primary tool of attainment in the method of Kabbalah. And just to sum it up quickly, the screen is an intention to receive in order to bestow to the Creator. That is, that we create, the creature creates in itself a quality, a similar quality to the quality that surrounds it. An inner quality that has a similarity of form, an equivalence of form, with the property, the attribute of bestowal outside of it. That is, its act of receiving becomes an act of giving. And we also learned that all motion in the higher reality, in the spiritual worlds, happens only as a result of this law of equivalence of form. Now, we could imagine that this law of equivalence of form is some kind of mystical or magical thing, some kind of an innovation, a novelty. But it's not just something that was made up by the sages of Kabbalah. It really is a principle, a law that governs the whole universe, everything that we see. It exists in nature. It's simply that the sages are pointing out to us that this is the method by which we develop, we grow, we move, and can attain the goal of creation. In this lesson, we're going to look a little more closely at the law of equivalence of form. We'll do that by looking at an article written by Bala Salam. It's a piece of an article, actually. It comes from Matan Torah, or the giving of Torah, the giving of instruction by the light. And it's a section of it called the acting intelligence. What the Kabbalists said, that every person is obligated to comprehend the root of his soul, means that the creature's purpose, most desired and full of hope, is bonding with the Creator, as in the verse, and to bond with Him. And the sages interpret this as bonding with His attributes, just as He is compassionate, so you, and so on. He says here, every person is obligated to comprehend the root of his soul. In other words, it's not just that somebody makes a decision that they will bond with the root of their soul. It's that the entire system consists of a motion coming from the thought of creation, which moves a person to the point where they will comprehend the root of their soul. And the way in which the thought of creation, which is to create a creature and fill it with delight, the way it functions in the universe and in creation is expressed through the law of equivalence of form. That is, that all of nature works on this law. That there is a constant pressure in our environment and in every environment in the universe, and there is a constant force to equalize the inner pressure with the outer pressure and to come to a state of balance with it so that we come to a state of rest or comfort. And this is simply the law that is functioning all the time. You could think of Kabbalah as the physics of the spiritual world. And so it points this out to us so that we can begin to perceive it and to work with it. But this law functions in the natural universe as well. And we can look at it through natural sciences. For instance, astrophysicists tell us that the material universe was initiated by a huge explosion, the Big Bang. And from that point forward, all action within the universe is really a kind of an equalization of this force until it will find a state that is motionless. So all forces in the universe are working in such a way as to come into a balanced state. Now, in our world, this law is observed strictly, and we can see it on different levels of life, the different levels that exist in our world. For instance, in the inanimate level, we see that there is a movement of forces, tectonic plates, or the motion of weather, wind, and water, constantly seeking a kind of a balanced state with each other. And we see also the vegetative level obeys this law by absorbing things that it needs from light, which is outside of itself, through a kind of photoelectric process, chemical process, or the movement of minerals through it with a kind of an equalization of hydraulic forces that will move it through its stem and through its leaves. In the animate level, animals, you'll see movement of animals to areas where there's food and all of the appropriate things for their survival. If external forces and conditions change, there's a constant shifting so that they come into alignment with it. But on the human level, we don't keep this law of equivalence of form, because we don't live in an environment like the environment of the inanimate, vegetative, and animate level. These are already taken care of. These things are already perfected. They already work according to this law. And the human level, we are up against laws that we have no sense of, and we don't know how to observe these laws. So the human level which is not the sort of intellectual and physical human animal, but the part of creation itself that is supposed to be connected to the upper forces,